Hi everyone, it's Wanda with the Armchair Cat Advocate. Have to kind of be mindful of my angles here so I am not accused of being a hoarder because heaven forbid, I have dishes that are drying in the rack, like the person that, made the comment on the irresponsible dog owner video that I'm a effing hoarder because I have stuff on the balcony because I have two recycling bins on the balcony. One has pots in, and I had a litter box that was drying and upside down. And yeah. I just gotta love the trolls. Just gotta love them. Gotta love trolls. Gotta love people in general sometimes. I mean, really. So anyway, today for Caturday Cat Tales, I thought I would tell everybody the story of Wuss Puss. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to try to get this mess cleaned up in my sink because I have dishes that need to be washed. I'm letting them soak for a few minutes while I'm talking to you. Then I'm going to wash those and I'll get the indoor crew fed, even though they didn't eat all their food last night because it's getting hot again. It was just, I mean, as you can see from my hair, I mean, I was just out. I was just outside. It's unbelievable. Like yesterday was so nice. Yesterday was such a nice day. And I walk out the day and it's like, ugh, it's like hot and sticky and all over again. So anyway, and I don't know why my light keeps going back and forth either. But anyway, so the story of Wuss Puss. So Wuss Puss. So back in, when I moved over here, there were cats. There were lots of cats. And like a lot of other people, because I wasn't educated at that point, I thought they were a nuisance. They would rip up the trash. They'd spray and it was smelly. They would poop places that, you'd rather they didn't poop. Including, I mean, I found poop in front of my door already. There was getting, getting on your car, getting in the trash cans, the yowling, the mating, all of that, was going on. And I wasn't a real cat person at that point. I didn't understand. Growing up, we had only had like 3 cats. I mean, one was an indoor cat. She was a stray that had been already spayed and unfortunately declawed by whoever had her previously. So, she, she had behaviors that I now look back and go, oh, that was probably because she was declawed, but I didn't know that back then. So anyway, long story short, I've always been more of a dog person than a cat person because I just was around dogs more. Not that I didn't like cats. In fact, I broke up with a boyfriend one time because this cat or this guy told me that he hated cats so much that if he saw one on the road, he would purposely try to hit it and unalive it. So yeah, that's why him and I didn't work. But as far as the cats were concerned, I mean, I just thought they were a nuisance, and then it got to the point where they kept having kittens, and it wasn't the kittens weren't a problem. What was a problem was what was happening to the kittens, because the kittens were getting hit by a car and unalived, and we'd find unalive cats out, by our laying by our apartment building out by the alley, or they just there was just all kinds of problems with it. And I just got to the point where I remember I was talking to my friend one time and I said, this is just horrible. And she said, well, why don't you do TNR? And I'm like, what's TNR? So she explained to me what TNR is, trap, neuter, return, and vaccinate in many cases. And I was like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense to me, because see, in my mind, I'm like, how is that helping? And I mean, that's helping the people because now they're not reproducing, but how is it helping the cat when you just trap, neuter, vaccinate, and then you return it back where you found it in the same conditions? So now it's still scavenging for food. It's still in danger of all these other things that could happen to it. And how is that any better for its life? That doesn't make sense. And I said, well, I think it would just be better to humanely euthanize them. And my friend was like, well, I don't think they feel that way. And I said, well, I understand that, but it doesn't make sense to me why you're just going to do this and then put them back. So they're still going to have fleas and parasites and get sick and not have food and all these other issues, and have to deal with dogs and nasty people and cars and all this other stuff and elements, extreme cold, extreme heat. So they have to deal with all of that. But at least now they're not going to reproduce. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. So, of course, I did what I do, and I researched. And as I researched, I found out that, there's another component to this, and it's management. And no one's talking about colony management. They're just talking about TNR, not colony management. And so I decided that that's the part that's missing. It's like they need to have somebody looking out for them after they have the TNR done. And that's how it works. And that made then it made sense to me. It's like, okay, now that makes sense, because they have to have human intervention for this to work. So I started looking around for people that would help me with this, organizations that would help me with this. And about that time, this was back in like 2019, there was an incident where they had one of the cats had kittens yet again. I had come back from the grocery store, and there were these two little girls walking up the alley holding cat food cans and going, kitty, kitty, kitty. And I went over to them and I said, "How, are you looking for a cat? Did you lose a cat?" And they said, "No, a lady was here." And the lady was here, and the lady was, just move that a minute. The lady was here, and the lady was catching all these cats, or catching all the kittens, but one got away. A little black one got away. Like, okay, what's she doing with the kittens? And they didn't know, of course. So I said, okay, well, I'll look out for a black kitten. And I thought, well, I'll look out for a black kitten, but that lady isn't getting the black kitten, because I don't know what the hell you're doing with those kittens. Why aren't you, knowing now what I know, you should have been trapping the adults and getting the adults fixed, not just taking the kittens. So I'm kind of wondering if it was like one of the ladies, the Mennonite ladies or something, because, Mennonites and Amish, I'm from Lancaster County originally. They don't have a good reputation when it comes to dealing with animals, and I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, not long after that, I started to see a black kitten with a little white snip on its chest. And I named this little black kitten Wuss Puss, because at the time I had watched Coraline, and Coraline had a cat named Wuss Puss. And this cat was extremely scared and skittish, and so I thought this name fits, so I called the cat Wuss Puss. So we would do this little dance where I would come down and I would say, "Hi," and she would run away, or she would immediately crouch down like this and run away. And that went on for a while. I mean, she never got to the point where I could touch her or anything, but she started to get used to me. She started to kind of, when I would come, she would come out when I would come home, because I started to buy her treats, and I would throw treats to her. And then I started looking for someone to do this TNR. So I finally found a group, I finally found some people that would help me, and they said, okay, first thing you gotta do is you start to feed them. So I started feeding them. I started putting food up here by my doorway, and I started to see Wuss Puss. And then I saw Lucy, and that's where Lucy got her name. And I'll talk about Lucy in another one, so I won't give it away, but that's how Lucy got her name, because she would come up and kind of intimidate Wuss Puss. So Lucy's original name was Lucifer, and then shortened to Lucy because I found out Lucy was a girl, not a boy. But anyway, we'll talk about that when I do the video on Lucy. So anyway, we had Wuss Puss, and I got everything coordinated with all these different, like three groups, three different rescue groups, TNR trappers, blah, 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 got everybody coordinated, all ready to come out. Like literally 3 days before that was supposed to happen, bang, we got hit with the shutdown because of a certain virus in 2020. And in Pennsylvania, we had not only did we had all non-essential businesses shut down, including spay neuter clinics, because they wanted to make sure that all the medical equipment that vets use and that vets and medical doctors use would be available for the medical doctors. So that's what they did. But even after they realized that the virus wasn't going to need all of that extra, they still kept them shut down. So we had a heck of a problem with cats, kittens. It was terrible. But Wuss Puss, and Rogue and Wuss Puss were like this when he was living outside. That was his girl. I mean, they were a couple. They were a thing. And for the longest time, I wanted to adopt Wuss and Rogue. And I even got Wuss for a while. I have footage of Wuss actually coming into my apartment and eating. But then, we started to get other cats involved. Other cats started to come, and she started to get intimidated, and then she just stopped. At one point, she just stopped coming up. But Wuss has always been one of my favorites. She has a special place in my heart because she actually started this. Not Rogue. Rogue's the one that started the cat, the cat companionship, and having them actually share space with me. But Wuss Puss is the one that started me on this crazy road of TNR. And so I love her to death. She's one of my favorites. I try to give her some, special things when I can. Like I just went down today, and I've been trying to go down like midday and give her food because she is shy and she does get intimidated by the other cats. I'll give her a plate of chicken when nobody's around so that she can enjoy that without being harassed. And so that's really the story of Wuss Puss. And now, with having the trap, I'll be able to actually bring her in here. I'm going to have to wait a few days because I have a drippy faucet here that needs to be repaired. And the landlord and assistant were just in here on Thursday. So they put in the request. So I'm guessing next week sometime they'll do that. But after they get that done, I definitely want to trap Wuss. Want to bring her in here, put her in this crate, which I know she's not going to like, but I'm going to put her in here, put her in the crate, and I want to comb her. I want to get rid of those burrs in her tail and treat her eyes, and because she has gunky eyes, and just get her cleaned up a little bit. Put some flea treatment on her, and she's a sweet girl. She's really sweet. She doesn't fight. When you get her. When you put your hand on her, she automatically freezes, so she's not a fighter. And that's really the story of Wuss Puss. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked hearing about them, and I'll cover the rest of the colony cats as we go along here every Saturday. So for those of you watching, for those of you who are part of our amazing Advocat Clouder community, thank you so much. Love all of you. Thank you for all the support to help me maintain this colony and get them healthier and happier, and hopefully get some of them actually in loving homes. So thank you for all of that. If you're new here and this is the first time you've watched anything like this, check out the other videos. If you like the kind of content that I'm producing, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you always know when I upload, which is several times a day. The like, and leave a comment. But try to be respectful. If you don't know what to say, you can just put a little emoji, but try to make it positive because enough negativity in the world. And honestly, I kind of had my fill of trolls after that short. So I'm looking for positivity. I don't really need negativity. There's enough of that. So with all that being said, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So goodbye for meow.